I'm Zafir, and welcome to Season 2. Season 2 of No Love Lost 2.0. We did 14 episodes for our first season, and I want you guys to pat yourself on the motherfucking back because I continue to get all the love and support from you guys, and it's very much appreciated. I want to start this podcast off on a positive note, but unfortunately shit happens, and sometimes when life happens you gotta just talk about it. So recently I have this friend, well, I wouldn't say a friend, I would say an associate, that she was asking me to borrow some money, but mind you, I haven't heard from this young lady in quite some time. So it was just like the last time I talked to her, I said, hey, I told her about my husband getting in a car accident and stuff like that. So she's asking me to borrow money. So she texts me. This is the first text I have gotten from her in over 2 weeks. Hey, I need you to send me $50 until the 3rd. I need to get my medicine. I didn't respond, you guys. Mind you, I was asleep because I had just worked a 12-hour shift overnight. She said, then she responded 3 hours later, if you couldn't or didn't want to, you could have just said it. And I responded back, one, we have not talked in quite a while. So the first conversation that we have should be, hello, how are you? How's everything going? I remember you told me Maurice had an accident. I hope all is well. I said, then the second part of the conversation should have been like, hey, I'm in a bond. I need extra amount of dollars to whatever date. Then the other thing I said you could have said in the conversation was, oh, are you sleeping? Because you already know my schedule. So I said that to them, and they're going to say, okay, first, honestly, I didn't have time to drag the conversation. Well, you know what? I don't have time to let you borrow money then. So let me, and what I mean by that is you should not be asking somebody for things when you have not talked to them. If you're going to ask for somebody, I'm not saying be fake, but you should be a critical thinker and say, you know what? I haven't spoken to such and such in so much time. Let me check in on them and see how they doing and what's going on. You talking about dragging the conversation out. We have not had conversations. So why would you the first thing you write me is, I need $50 to the 3rd. Okay, I'm not fucking you. We not together. We ain't never been together. Where do you feel that you deserve anything from me? And that's the thing is, I hate mixing friends and money. I always tell people that. I'll be like, I don't like mixing friends and money. I don't like people borrowing money from me. I don't like giving money out. Unless I'm buying something from you, I prefer not to give you a damn dollar. Or if we going out to eat and I say, hey, I got it, I cover it, or we go out somewhere and I say, oh, I got it. That is how I give. I don't really like giving and letting people borrow because it always causes an issue later on. It always seems to bite me back in the ass later on. So I don't want to engage with conversations of letting people borrow money, especially somebody I haven't had a conversation with in over 2 weeks. Not only that, even prior to that, we really have not talked. So I'll be a little annoyed with people, having the audacity. Yes, the audacity to ask for things when I'm not even in communication with them. It's just like, you're weird. You're weird, bro. Like, it's just like, I want to tell people like how weird they are. Like, how dare you sit up here and feel that you can talk to me in a manner that I'm obligated to give. And no, I don't want to give. And see, I don't even lie to people no more and say, oh, well, I don't have it. No, I just feel like I don't want to give it to you. I just straight don't want to give it to you. I don't feel like it. I don't want to. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to. And, I used to kind of come up with excuses, but I think Kevin Gates said it the best. Like, I was listening to a Kevin Gates, interview. I really like his, thinking, not some of his practices, but his thinking. And he said, I could be on the phone with somebody and I could say, okay, I'm going to get off the phone now. And they could say, instead of lying and say, oh, I got to go do this or I got to go do that. You know how sometimes we do that when we want to get off the phone with somebody, but instead we'll sit here and come up with an excuse. Oh, I'm tired or something like that. He said, no, I just want to get off this phone. It has nothing to do with you. I want to end the conversation because I'm ready to get off the phone. And he says that is for them to deal with whatever emotion they have from feeling what you said and you speaking your truth. That's not your emotional burden to take on. And that's the thing is, it's not my financial burden to take on that you don't have what you need to take care of yourself. It's not my issue. And it's not to be insensitive. But the thing about it is you are so in love with somebody, your husband. Well, you know what? For somebody that has a husband, your husband don't show up for you. You know, and a lot of people have spouses like that where their spouse do not show up for them. Nobody is perfect. No person or relationship is perfect. But if you don't have somebody that shows up for you, that you lay down with, and you letting them raw dog your shit, or vice versa, if you the man or she the woman, or man, whatever the situation is, you need to start reevaluating your partnership. Because $50, if I have a husband or a wife, you better have that $50. There's no need for me to sit here and contact anyone else but you. Because if I'm married to you and I have a life with you and I built a family with you, you are supposed to be the backbone of when I am in need. You're supposed to take care of that. So the situation is, where's your backbone at? Because when you're weak or when you're down or when you're fucked up, that person is supposed to step in and log in and check in and be like, all right, I got you, babe. You're going to be good no matter what, because I'm here. And I feel like that's the main reason why I have pushed myself back from quite a few people, is because I realized that people just want to continue to receive, but they don't want to do anything about their situation. You know, what's the point about crying about your situation if you're going to stay in the situation? You might as well just shut up. Like, I really don't have sympathy for people who complain about situations over and over and over again, and then you're back in the situation. That's on you. Take responsibility for yourself. If you are weak-minded enough to step into the boxing field with that person again after they done whooped your ass emotionally, then you know what? You gotta deal with the consequences of your ass getting back in that ring, letting them whoop your ass emotionally again. And this has nothing to do with domestic violence. This has to do with mental abuse. People are really mentally abused and don't realize it. A lot of people sit here and will lay down with people that they know are no good for them, but they sit up here and do it anyway. You know why? They do it because it's comfortable. It's what they're used to. And it's just like, oh, well, you know what? Oh, they know how to fuck good. Okay, they may know how to fuck good, but how do you feel after that? You know what? Or you marry somebody and you know damn well they ain't shit before you marry them, but you do it because you want that ring or you want that title. Not realizing the title and the ring don't mean shit if the foundation ain't strong. You know, I always tell people you have to stand on a strong foundation, because no matter how beautiful you may build up that relationship, it will crumble if it's made out of water. If it's made out of water and sticks and there's no nails in that motherfucker and there's no concrete for that foundation to be locked in, no roots, you know, nothing to lock it in, you're going to end up in a situation where you're in bliss and you're in love, really lust, and then you end up back in a situation where you're hurting again, where you feel dismissed, where you feel mentally abused, where you feel that there's a lack of care, there's a lack of the ability to function without the person because you're so used to them. Being used to people will have you stuck, like I said in season 1. And I'm not here to participate in anybody's behavior of life, of repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. You know, you cannot continue to sit here and do the same thing over and over. And it's like so many people want to be wives but are not ready to be a wife. So many people want to be a husband but are not ready to be a husband. What I mean by that is if you're a selfish person, you're not ready to be with anybody. If you're a woman who is vain, you're not ready to be with anybody. You know, if you're a man that's vain, you're not ready to be with anybody. You have to be able to be selfless. It's okay to be selfish when you're on your own in the world. But when you sit up here and get a partner and you have somebody that's supposed to be there to stand 10 toes down for you and they can't even give you $50, that says a lot. If you sitting here waiting on a man to take you on a date who has never formally asked you and just said, let's get something to eat, why are you still in that situation? If you waiting on a female to change her behavior, but she's still participating in entertaining people, then why are you still sitting around waiting on that behavior? You already know how this is going to go. It's like, I feel like a lot of people are too old to sit here and play with themselves. Like, one thing about it is, I'm not about to play in my own face. I did that already in my early 20s. I played in my own face in my early 20s. I could tell y'all a story about how I used to talk to this man. We were friends. We was talking. It's just, the story is so bad. I mean, it's not even embarrassing. It's just a part of my journey. So we were talking for quite a little while, maybe like 5 months, just talking. I did not know this dude went and got a whole boyfriend while I was talking to him. Like, he had a whole boyfriend for like 3 weeks after we already was talking for like 4 or 5 months, and I had told him I liked him, I wanted to be with him, da da da. And he was like, oh, I don't know if I want a relationship yet. But mind you, we fucking and everything. So this man brings me to the dude's house like, hey, I want to introduce you to my best friend. He introduced me as the best friend. And I looked at him like, okay, he always does call me his best friend, but he says, oh, this is my boyfriend. And I was like, you know, this is when I'm like 19, 20 years old, you know, where my mind isn't fully like, oh shit, like this nigga playing in my face. He was like, oh yeah, this is my boyfriend. I looked at him like, oh, okay, all right. And the boyfriend was like, oh, y'all just friends? I said, yeah, we just friends. And he was like, oh, okay. Cause he was like, oh, I was a little worried for a second. Mind you, I'm dogging this nigga out on a regular basis and like digging in his back. So why they tell me to chill in the living room, they about to go on the balcony and have a conversation. Why I lean over and he is fucking the shit out of this nigga on the balcony in the Bronx. Like dogging his shit. Well, I don't even think they had a balcony. I think it was the fire escape. Yeah, it was the fire escape in the projects. So he is literally dogging this nigga's back in. And I'm like, oh wow. And you know what my dumb ass did? I watched and then I sat back down, and when I waited for us to leave, and when we left, I said, oh, so you fucking that? I said, so you fuck that nigga while I'm in the next room? Wow. He said, oh, well, you know, I want to be a top, and I bottom for you, but I want to be a top. I said, oh, okay, well, you know what? You doing the right thing then. Continue to go fuck with your boyfriend. But meanwhile, as soon as we got home, I digged in his back, and I dug him out even crazier, because I felt like, yo, you played in my face. But now, at this big age, no. Sir, I'm not even going to have a conversation with you, because as soon as I would have saw that at this big age, I would have walked the fuck out that bedroom door. I would have walked out that house. I would have walked out that projects. I would have said, nah, I'm good. But that takes time. That takes maturity. That takes growth. That takes your frontal lobe growing. You know, that takes for you to actually understand that you have to set a standard. And I feel like a lot of people in their late 20s and early 30s don't know how to set standards, yet they claim all this self-love and, oh, I have the ability to walk away, and you don't have the ability to do not a fuck thing. What you have the ability to do is to manipulate yourself into believing that you're stronger than what you are, and do the same thing over and over that you know really hurts you, but you have to wait for the pain to come later on because you want to enjoy the moment. The moment. I'm all here for having a good minute, a good moment, a good fuck, a good suck, a good lick. I support all the bullshit. But if it's not going to be at the account of my heart being broken or hurt by somebody that don't really want me, but they just want to have me around because they feel good about me being around, but they don't want nothing more from me. So I have to sit here and wait for one day when you find the person that was never me and become happy. Oh, hell no. I don't know how people live like that. Now, that ain't my situation, because I'm straight quick to walk away from a motherfucker and never turn around. There ain't an ex that ever say that I've been with them again after we broke up. Nobody can say that, because when I'm done, it's done. Conversation over, relationship over, you're done. Get away from me. You're disgusting. You know, I think there's only like one ex that I actually still talk to every few months to this day, and we check in on each other because it was no bad blood. You know, we did have I guess it was a little bad blood, but it wasn't bad enough to oh, I hate you. You know, it was never like that. That was never the situation. But I think there's a lot of times we end up hating people, not realizing that we don't even have to hate these people if we would have just left them alone. If we would have left them alone because we knew they was playing with our heart and taking advantage of us and manipulating us and playing on the fact that we may have certain traumas that we haven't dealt with in a manner that will have us grow and realize that, you know what, I don't even have to deal with this situation. I don't have to be in this place with this person. But you know what? I am, because I feel like I have no choice. That's the problem. You can't be sitting here saying how you doing your big one and how you that dude or how you that woman, and you sit here and you allow people to play with you like that. It's not about being better. It's just, if you're going to sit here and play the game, at least don't get played. You know, somebody got to be the loser, but why it got to be you? I'm just saying, that, it ain't nothing wrong with doing your thing out here if that's what you want to do, but don't be sitting here crying about it later on and then repeating that you heard about it, because at this point, you know, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Friends do get tired of hearing y'all shit. They do. They get tired of it. And it's not because they get tired of you. They're more so tired of seeing you hurt. When somebody really genuinely cares about you, the reason why sometimes they'll want to stop hearing about certain things is not because they don't want to support you, but it's because they know you deserve better. They know you deserve more, but you don't allow yourself to see that. So you stay in a place of stuck, and you sit here and repeat the behaviors that you had with situations before that you already knew hurt you, and now you back stuck and hurting all over again. So yeah, people get tired of that. People get tired of the excuses of, I just did that for me, or I just was getting my shit off, or I was just thinking about myself. I was being selfish. You may want to play with your mind and have those thoughts that you really did your big one, but you really did nothing. You ain't do no big one. You ain't do nothing serious. You ain't do no work. You ain't do no healing, because guess what? You are literally dating the same soul in a different body. You literally have to realize, I even said it to myself one time. I told my homeboy Mario, I said, there's a possibility that you may be dating the same soul in a different body. You attract the same entities. You attract the same beings. They don't look alike, but they have similar characteristics that attract you because of whatever you have that's unhealed in you attracts them. And that's some real ass stuff. Like, I didn't even realize how real that was until I literally went back and looked at my life and saw some of the things that I engaged in and some of the people that I would have conversations or date or talk to. And I'd be like, wow, these dudes was real similar. Like, they was very much alike. So what was it in me that was attracting the same being over and over in different bodies and different forms? What was it in me that, always was attracting a person with a behavior that did not fit the narrative that I wanted for myself, or that I may have wanted out of a relationship, and that is something that we have to be honest with ourselves about. We have to really sit here and do some self-evaluation on how we allow people to engage with us. How we allow ourselves to engage with others. Stop being the victim. When you hurt, when you know you was going to be hurt by the situation anyway, because you already knew how this person treated you and how they didn't really give a damn about you. That's just how I feel. I feel like we got to be real about it. We knew certain people didn't care about us. We knew certain people didn't love us the way we wanted to be loved. We knew certain people didn't have the ability to take care of our hearts. We knew certain people didn't have the ability to be a good friend. Yet we still stay in those relations with them. We stay in relationships with them. We stay in relationships with things that we know are not going to do good for us, but we enjoy the moment. And it's okay to enjoy the moment, but don't let the moment become a lifetime of pain because you don't know how to let go. I really don't need to understand why people can't let go, because I've been that person before where I allowed things to transpire and go on longer than they needed to, due to the fact that I didn't know how to communicate that, I'm not happy in this friendship or in this relationship, and I don't think this is going to work for me, or we're trying to work on it, but it's not working and we need to accept that. No, I was sitting here back in the day, I'm going to fight for this. If you really love somebody, you got to fight for it. You got to fight for the situation. You can't just let it die and be done with it. That's what my mindset was to always try to put my biggest foot forward to make it work, not realizing that it's okay if it don't. It's okay to try, but if it don't work, it don't work. Move on. Live life. And that's why, even when I'm not in relations with people sometimes anymore, I say, I love you, but I'm good. I don't want that relationship with you anymore because it did not feed me. It hurt me more than anything. And some people are not comfortable with having that honest, true conversation to say that, I love you, but I wish you well. And that's it. It sounds hard to do, but it's really not. Because when you start being honest with yourself, being honest with others becomes easier. So everybody, I want you guys to remember to always continue to show that love to No Love Lost 2.0. Make sure you guys check out my podcast. It's on iHeartRadio at No Love Lost 2.0. It's also on YouTube. You can catch the podcast on YouTube as well as my other videos on my YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, No Love Lost 2.0, y'all. It's all there. All content, dancing videos, laughs, jokes, just conversations about how to love yourself. And No Love Lost 2.0 is all about motivation and self-love. It's not about how to teach nobody, how to love nobody else. It's all about being selfless with yourself, that you're honest with yourself at all times, you loving yourself at all times, and that you realize that happiness is a choice. And when you decide to choose to pick happiness, that it's up to you to make that day better or not. So you guys don't forget, this is Zafir from No Love Lost 2.0, and this is season 2, episode 1. Make sure y'all continue to show that love and hit that subscribe button and keep showing that love. This is No Love Lost 2.0, and I appreciate all the love we continue to receive. Make sure you check me out on all streaming platforms. One love.